just in this few months after the show, I have the honor to welcome on the show Mr. Paul. Please allow me, sir. I cannot call the name just like that. Allow me. Mr. Paul Onwanibe, the CEO of the group, many things. The group Africa Landmark Business in Nigeria. He has many streams of businesses, but he's one person I know that is humble. I have done my research, and my research has given me this great feedback about you, sir. He's humble, he's energetic, he's adventurous, he's a man of integrity. And I will use the word I was told that your wife calls you. Is the happiest man she has ever known on earth. Join me as I welcome into my studio, into my show, Aderonke Live Show. My name is Aderonke Onikpeje. Join hands with me as I welcome the mighty, the great, the humble man with many feathers on his cap, Mr. Paul Onwanibe. Hooray! That's how we welcome on the show our guest. Welcome, sir. It's so great to have you here. Thank you so much for honoring my invitation. He's so glad to see you live and to meet. He meets with you. I've not met you physically, but he meets with you, and it's an honor. Thank you for coming on the show, sir.
Thank you. The honor is entirely mine. And when you were trying to introduce me there, I was feeling like an Olympic athlete who's just won the gold medal.
Yes, you have. You have inspired. Someone called me and said, Aderonke, this CV is scary. This CV is just too scary. Are you sure is a bona fide Nigerian by blood, by water, by everything? I said, yes, we have. That's why the show is here. We have amazing Nigerians quietly making things happen and bringing life to a lot of people, trying to create opportunities for many people. And Mr. Paul is one of them. And it's greatly an honor, for you to come on the show to share your story with us. Thank you, sir. Thank you. So you deserve all the accolades and all the tambourine and the praises. You worked for it. It's not easy running a business in Africa and especially in Nigeria.
I hope my wife is not listening because she won't welcome all that praise.
I'm sure Madam will understand. Madam will understand. It's not easy. She's been married to you for 27 years, and I'm sure there are also years of friendship and all that is involved. So she will understand much more than we do. So share with us. I have people online already. Thank you guys for coming online. Thank you, Toby. I see you. I see you, Jedediah. I see you, Ronke. Oh, Ronke, my friend from overseas. She's in US. She's always on the show. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you for coming online. And I want Mr. Paul to share with us. I don't want to say all the stories. Let him be the one to share with us. How has it been for you growing up? Is this what you've always wanted to do? Your journey in business? How has it been?
Oh, well, my growing up is a long story, so I'm going to truncate it for you. Okay. So my parents were diplomats, or well, my father was a diplomat. My mum worked with the BBC, and there were 7 in the UK at the time I was born, so I just happened to be born in the UK. But my father being a real Nigerian, I did my infancy years in the UK, and at the age of 10, my father felt I should go to secondary school in Nigeria. So the first time I walked into Nigeria was when I was shipped off to boarding school at what was then Federal Government College, Lagos, now known as Ujeniki.
Okay,
my brother and I were shipped off there at the age of 10. The first couple of years are quite difficult. Obviously, Nigeria being Nigeria, just getting sort of used to it coming from London. But after a few years, by the time I got to my 3rd year, 4th year in secondary school, in those days they counted them in year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know what their equivalent now. I hear they go up to 13 now.
Basic, they use basic now or something.
Yeah.
Or grade, not sure.
Yes. So after I got to my secondary school WAEC time, took the exams, managed to pass, and I thought to myself, I liked this.
You managed to pass.
Managed to pass. I thought I liked it. I wanted to stay in Nigeria, but my parents had other thoughts. So I had to come back to the UK to do my A-levels because they had the school they wanted me to attend, and they felt I must attend that school. So I did that. But once I finished my A-levels, I I came straight back to Nigeria, to University of Nigeria, did a degree in architecture. So spent a good 6 years there, a BSc and a master's in architecture. Did my youth call in Jos, had a great time, and then got shipped out again, came back to the UK, worked with an architectural practice to get my RIBA letters. At the time, I realized, before I finished my architecture degree, I realized that I didn't really want to be an architect. I liked buildings, but I didn't necessarily like architecture. The painstaking architecture course. So I working with the architect, I decided I wanted to do sort of construction management and get into project management. So I then I did a course, a master's in construction management at the Imperial College. Finished that, moved from the architectural practice, worked with a property development company for quite a few years, and then realized I wanted to sort of manage it. I liked the way it felt. So I did an MBA at the London Business School, and then moved to a company called Regus. At the time I moved to Regus, there were 7 of us that worked in the organization. It was one of the fastest growing organizations in the world at the time. I mean, this guy who started Regus, his name was Mark Dixon. He had a view to change the way people worked in the world, and he was focused on it. He was a serial entrepreneur. So during that 7-year spell, he grew that company to employ over 6,000 people in 162 countries, and started it with 200,000 euros and floated it for $1.4 billion 7 years later. So it was quite a journey, and it was something I enjoyed, and I learned a lot during that time. And so after it floated, I decided to leave and start my own company, and that's how we found ourselves starting Landmark. All my life I've done property. Everything I know is property. So not just the servicing of the property, but the drawing of it, the developing of it, the selling of it, and the managing of it. So I started Landmark in the UK as a property service company, and we spread to 7 different European countries. So we worked in Germany, in Spain, in France, in Belgium, in America, in New York. And then in 2003, I linked up with some of my old friends from UNN and decided to bring Landmark to Nigeria. At the same time, we thought, because I was used to working in different countries, I thought this is the time to come to Africa generally. So we set up in South Africa in the south, well, Johannesburg in the south, Nairobi in the east, Lagos, which was west and northwest, yes, and Cairo was the destination in the north. And that's how Landmark basically started. But very early in that process, we realized you needed control of property to service and manage property. So we started our property development company, and here we are today. There are many things about the African market that has shaped the way we've created it. So that's a snapshot of
among all this in this your serial journey from UK to Nigeria, back to UK and all that, and trying to fulfill a purpose. You parents wanted you architecture, you found out along the line. Was it when you were serving in Jos that you realized that you wanted more about the buildings, the business of building and property? Was it while you were serving?
No, in all honesty, serving was a holiday. It was in architecture school. You see, architecture school is quite long. It's a 6-year, 7-year course.
Yeah.
And halfway through architecture school, I
realized
realized
the shocking thing that medical seems longer, but many people don't know that architectural actually seems longer than many know. Many don't know that it's a long course.
Yeah, very long course. And
it wasn't fun or what?
Well, in my mind, I just didn't think the course needed to be that long, but I'm glad it was, because what it does do, it weeds out the chaff. They've always said, and my parents used to say this to me, education is about discipline. It's not about knowledge. So as long as you can be disciplined enough to see it through, pass your exams in flying colors, and dedicate yourself to something, whether you like it or you don't like it, it's a mirror of the rest of your life. And then when I came out of education, I realized just working that it's not every boss you work with you like, it's not every colleague you like, it's not every office you like to work from, it's not every seat you sit on that you would like, but just having the discipline to allow yourself to go through some of the pains and the inconveniences, right, to pursue a dream is important, because the bigger the dream, the harder it gets and the more discipline required. So education is a good start. So I realized probably my 3rd year, halfway through architecture school, that I didn't like the detail of architecture. I didn't feel I was creative graphically, but I felt I was more mentally creative, and I wanted the more physical part
Physical
of
part
creativity.
than the
Yeah.
paper.
Yes, then the paper, because I spent a long time, detailing sort of kitchens, toilets, windowsills. But the architects amongst us will understand what I mean. It's tough. It's tough,
Mm,
but it's enjoyable. It's like being an artist. And
mm,
the great thing about architecture is you commit something to paper, and one day you open your eyes and it's standing in on soil, and people are
mm,
using it and utilizing it, and it's very rewarding to see
mm.
that. Mm.
That's fantastic. I like the way you explained it. That along your journey, your third, your fourth year, you were more fun with the mental work of it than the paperwork, but you had to discipline yourself to understand and to go through it, and that's a lesson you just gave us, that we might not like the seats. I like as simple as you said it. You might not even like the seats you sit in the office. You might not even like your colleague, but there's a goal, and that goal has to be achieved, and you need that discipline to achieve that goal. Thank you for that insight, sir. So whatever process you're going through right now, look at the goal. Don't mind, the inconveniences. Discipline has to come into play, for you to achieve it. Thank you,
Yeah.
sir. So share with
Focus,
us. Share with us. So when now
focus on your destination,
on your destination. Yeah,
not the journey.
it
Yeah.
drives you, motivates you to keep going. Yes, I appreciate that. Thank you, sir. So when you realize that now it's more about the mental, that you enjoy the mental work, you enjoy the people side of it now, and all that. So where did you now reconnect back to that? Where were you able to put the peg in the hole, to reconnect that for you?
Well, there's in life there's a period of discovery.
Yes.
So one thing I knew, I was always going to remain in what we call the built environment. So the built environment is well, in universities it's a department, right, or a
Mhm.
faculty, which includes
Yeah.
architecture, surveying, and all the other sort of build. So I always knew it was going to be about bricks and mortar and people. um, but what I was going to do within that environment was something that evolved over time, and through the journey. As I said, I worked with an architectural practice because after 6 years in architecture, I felt I should get my letters, my professional letters. So to do the professional exams, I had to work for 3 years. And because I came to the UK, I chose an architectural practice where one of the partners was sat on the RIBA board. RIBA is the Royal Institute of British Architects. So
Oh,
to give me a very good
like,
chance. I made a first class in school, so it was fairly easy
wow.
to get. And I was lucky as well. And one thing I've learned in life is luck is a big part of it. so so it was easier to get a job than it would have been, just because I had the academic credentials. And if any students watching this, I tell my children, I said, whatever you do, try and always do your best, because it may be 1 year later, maybe 10 years later, maybe 50 years later, but it will reward you. Um,
Man.
and anything that you don't do your best at that ends up either being okay or mediocre can never really be used as a stepping stone to
As a
something else.
stepping stone. True,
Yeah.
true, sir.
So, so
Thank you for that. Yeah. So
yeah,
always be your best at anything you find your
whatever
hand
it is
doing,
you do,
whatever it
and
is.
and, and in life, it takes as much effort to do things very well as it does to do things badly.
Do anything. Yes, true.
Yeah,
I totally agree, sir. I totally
yeah.
agree.
My
The
old
time, the energy is the same. So why
It's the
don't you
same.
just do it well?
My old boss used to say to me, if you get out of bed in the morning and you go through all this hassle coming to work, then you might as well work when you get here, right?
True, true,
there's, there's
true.
no
Yes,
need
it's true.
faffing around, because if you are doing nothing, you still use the same energy to get here. You're going to use the same energy to go
The
back.
energy to go.
Yeah. So make a
So why don't
difference.
you just do it and get rewarded and feel good about it? Be a
Absolutely.
part of that change. Be a part of fulfilling purpose.
Yeah.
Thank
No,
you.
you
Thank
hit the
you.
nail on the head. Be part of the change you want to see. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. I like that, sir. I like how those principles have guided you. So
Mm.
when you now partnered, you mentioned your old friends that you met, and you now had to partner with them and now open branches for the landmark group in the west, the east, in the north of Africa. These are friends. These are friends that were old friends. How
Yeah.
are you? Were there people that you could still vouch for? Their values, their principles. you've not seen them in a long while, or you were connected already?
Well, some were connected and some were not. But you know, the truth in life is we all have many friends. We have the good, the bad, and the ugly. And somewhere in us, we know the ones that are good, and we know the ones that are okay, and we know the ones that are ugly, and we know the ones that are dependable. So you know, a lot of the friends I have today are friends I developed in my youth. And you know, I've always said to people, your relationship. A lot of people count their wealth by how much money they have in their bank accounts, but you know, most people who understand life count their wealth by the relationships they have. And then when
True.
you form good relationships, it's important to nurture them and just make sure that you're dealing with like-minded people. So it's not just having a good friend, but you know, you have friends that when you want to go and party, you have friends. When you want to read, you have friends. You know, when you want to
Yes.
go home to your mother, right? You know who you take to your house
Yes.
and who you
Good
don't, right?
job.
So
Yeah.
so we know who
True.
our friends are. And if you're going to start a business or do something serious and deep, then you need to join up with the friends that you can take home to your mother, right?
Mm, mm, mm.
So some of my friends I kept in touch with. There are many friends that I didn't, that I renewed acquaintances um, as we met along. And some people change and some people don't. But fundamentally, most people deep inside are the same they were when they were
Mm,
very young. You know, this, not everybody believes this, but I'm not a big believer in there's something called DNA, and DNA doesn't change. Yes, your attitude
that's
towards things can change, how you view life can change, your bank balance can change, but who you really are, what you are, it's unlikely to change.
true, sir. True, true. Ah, sir, I had to even exclamate. To keep making sounds because I was just getting a deep picture of what you were saying in my head, trying to, put, pictorials and all that. And I totally agree with you that you can have all friends, like you said, but you will know the type that is for business because business is deeper than the party, than the laughing and all that. That's a very deep insight for everyone to note. And like you said something, you said for business, it has to be that friend that you can take to mama.
Yeah.
Please
Yeah.
explain why you said that part.
So I'm talking probably about reliability, yes, and authenticity. So you know, there's some people who are more authentic than others.
True.
If you're in a spot of trouble, there's certain phone numbers you will call, and there's some you won't. And it doesn't mean those are better friends or you've known them
Than
longer than the others, but you know, reliability is important. And you know, I and my friends know this, and my colleagues know this. You know, one of the things I hold dear in my life is loyalty. But I, you know, loyalty is everything. It's the
true.
it's the platform for everything. And once you
Okay.
are loyal, yes, you have the basic ingredients to develop any sort of friendship. Yes, because loyalty is the number one ingredient in friendship, and that's what I mean. What you can take home to mama. It's all about, you know, people who have values, who have the right ideology, who have manners, who respect everybody,
Manners.
whether the person is a support worker or an executive, they respect them the same way, and they respect human principles, and they continue to learn. You know, it's important. Humility is an important
Yes.
ingredient of progress. So
Hmm.
you know, loyalty for me is one of my top tick tick boxes. Um,
Yeah. Thank you.
Authenticity is
All,
another.
all, all you just said now would have needed to pay like millions of naira to listen to you share this deep thought with us. I'm so grateful. Thank you, sir. You said you spoke about loyalty. You spoke about dependability. You have to be reliable for you. For someone to go into business with you. Like you said, it's not like you're comparing them or which one is better. It's about which one fits the purpose at that moment. Who can you call when you need that particular incident. And thank you for those insights, sir. And I also
I tell
like
you,
that you mentioned
I
that
tell you a short.
people.
I tell you a very
Go
short
ahead.
story. There's a
Yes,
friend
sir.
of mine. So when I came back to Nigeria newly, so it was probably a couple of years after, and you know, I reacquainted with a lot of my friends, and so a friend of mine got stuck on Falmouth Bridge at about 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. in the morning. And
Wow.
if he's watching this show, he remember this that day, and he had no one to call. His car was broken. Um, and he picks up the phone. He calls me, and I answer the phone, and he said to me,
At
"Look,
2
Paul."
a.m.
At 2 a.m., he said, "Paul, I'm stuck on Falmouth Bridge. I'm in the middle of nowhere, right? There are all sorts of people sort of hovering around, and he's in trouble." I said, "Why did you call me now? Am I a policeman?" He said, he said two things. One is you'll answer the call because I know your phone will be on, and then the second is that you will listen to me.
Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, that's amazing. And actually, from my research, those were the things that were said about you. They said you carry other people's problems on you. You try to make everybody see that they can be better than where they are, and you just always want to help. That in every little way, you always feel that life is all about support for each other, and that is one thing I pray that every one of us can learn from and keep doing. Please do not relent, sir. I don't even need to tell you this because I was told that even with all you've had a few stories here and there, but you don't use it as a prejudice. You keep doing it and you keep riding on. And I'm not shocked why the Lord is helping you to move very well in your business. Thank you for those insights, sir. And that part that you also mentioned about DNA. People can change attitude towards things, but their DNA is still their DNA. It's the same. It doesn't change. So we should learn from that, especially for those that want to go into marriage, hoping that the person will change. So now, which brings me to yours. With all of this, how were you able to build a home? Because you have so much business that you ventured into. You're a risk taker. You're adventurous. How were you able to, take this woman along on this journey and build a home for 27 good years, sir? 27. Okay.
Yeah, so yes, it's a long time, but it's easy to look back and form my own story, but the truth is, life is a series of planned accidents, if I could use that term.
Yes, sir.
My wife is a medical doctor. At the time, she was in university. She was finishing her university, and just when they finish medical school, they do a year out with practice.
Mm.
And so she came over to London and to do a year out. So one of my cousins was living with me at the time, and he was doing that same year out, and he was her classmate basically in school. So she used to come and see him, and they used to sort of study together. And that's basically how I met. In terms of in life you meet a lot of people, and when I was much younger, I was quite playful, and there was a time I said to myself, so it was earlier than most of my friends. I said, I'm going to sort of settle down soon. Right. I'm too playful. So the time was right. So I met someone that I clicked with at the time
Mm.
when I was ready to settle. And I assume she met me at the same sort of time for her. She was very young, by the way. I say to my daughter that now that your mother was married at this age. so, yeah, so time went, and we're not similar. We've got very different personalities, and I think relationships are not about matching. They're more about understanding, tolerance, and and just having personalities that work together. You don't have to be the same. As a matter of fact, many people say that same personalities don't actually work, but personalities that can actually intertwine is a safer bet to work. So as I said, life is a series of accidents. So there was no grand plan. I might just happen to be in this place. And throughout I would say the last 30 years of my life, I've worked very hard. So I've traveled a lot. This is the longest time I've spent at home in the last 30 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm sure Madam will be so happy and so like, thank you, COVID. Just give a special bunch of flowers to COVID and say thank you. Oga is like right in the house. I was just about to ask that he has a medical profession, which is also very taxing, time consuming as well. And you're a businessman, you are everywhere because about when it comes about buildings, you have to be there many times, to make sure that the principles that you have should be followed through and all that. And I wanted to ask that there will be times that you'll be gone for long. How do you reconnect with the kids, and still let the daddy's role not be void? How do you do that? You're even saying that in 30 years is the longest that you spent at home. Just lockdown was in March. We are just in August, so just like 4 months.
No, I know, and the reality is I didn't spend all lockdown at home. So I traveled. I spent half of my lockdown in Lagos and the other half in London. But I
Okay.
mean, just in terms of the connection, I always say to people, I think it's important to be who you are all the time. Who you are in front of your kids, who you are in front of your colleagues, who you are in front of your siblings, who you are in front of your wife or husband, and who you are in front of your parents. I think, and friends. It's important that way. You don't have to act. Um, and the great thing about kids is they learn from people, and whether a kid has met you once or met you 100 times, they tend to remember and stick to certain things. So one of the things people often ask me, if there were three big lessons you can give to people, what would they be? And one of the lessons I always say is be a lifelong student, be curious, remain curious all your life. Read, try to find out more things, just be a student all the time.
Keep
And
learning.
and that's the great thing about kids, is because invariably they're students, so they're always learning.
Learning.
I know you have children, so when your babies grow up, you can see they're very curious. You shine a light, you touch something,
Question.
yeah, and so it's very important. So I will go away, I'll come back. I'm with I talk to my kids the same way as I talk to my parents, and the same way as I talk to my team. If you speak to my colleagues at work, they would tell you, I try to be myself all the time, and I try to be friendly. I think it's important to build relationships. So in the few times, or the short times I have with my kids, I believe I built relationships. I haven't been the best father in the world because I haven't been around all the time. I think from memory, I think I was in the football stadium when my daughter was born, but I named her after my football team as a result. But
What team do you support? What team?
the team that happens to have one of the trophies in the UK at the moment, the best team in the UK.
I just knew you had to be Arsenal, and you were not bold to say the name on time. And it took you
Well,
guys
I,
years to get the trophy. It took you guys like forever to
well,
finally get one.
I'm glad but just to correct you, by the way, Arsenal has
Okay.
won four trophies in the last 6 years, more than
So,
any other team in England.
but you guys know how to give hope and to dash it and to break it into pieces.
Our
I see a
standards
lot of people that have decamped into the United. I stand with United. I'm United fan, and I stand with United. So is allowed. Let's allow you enjoy the victory for this moment. It's okay. It's
Well,
fine.
but that's
Have a
okay.
celebration. It's
By
fine.
and large, every year we enjoy some kind of victory. We're not as good as we used to be, but those times will
At
come back.
all. Thank God you
Liverpool has
know.
shown
Thank God. Thank God you know. You see, your friends are shocked that you're actually an Arsenal fan. Seriously, Arsenal.
that. They know. I'm sure they all know. And Leonard, who's shouting, knows I'm an Arsenal fan.
But it's good to know, sir. It's good to know. It's good to know. So tell you have shared with us, parenting and all sorts of the family and all that. She'll share with us with business, you know, like you said, I like the word you called your staff. You call them your colleagues. That you try to build relationship in Nigeria. Building your kind of business, has it been palatable? Has it been easy for you on this journey? Was it what you expected? How have you been able to manage all the challenges?
The tough one. So Landmark, basically, I told you we turned in from Landmark Global, and we rebranded Landmark Africa because we were trying to create new experiences in Africa. And over the last sort of 5 to 10 years, we've evolved from being just a solely property development company to one that creates a sort of unique business ecosystem of sort of business, leisure, and lifestyle. So we create destinations and places that are almost like a melting pot where people are meant to come and meet. And our number one principle is not necessarily like a normal property developer. Your number one principle is to rent your space out to someone. Our number one
Mm.
principle is to bring people together. Our currency is footfall, is the number of people that come to our sites. Our currency is not the amount of naira or dollars that they spend. So, last year alone, we had 2.6 million customers
Wow.
within the landmark environment. And the more people that the brand touches, I think the healthier as a business we will be. Obviously, this pandemic brought challenges of its own. It's
Exactly.
presenting the world, with a dynamic and unprecedented situation. It has immediate and far-reaching consequences. We're even yet to understand the impact of on the communities across the globe, especially those of the most vulnerable. And we haven't been, we're not an exception to that, because our whole business is about bringing people together. As the pandemic started, obviously our business had to shut down. The social distance with social distancing norms, we
That's
preached
now.
exactly the opposite. So for the last 5 months, we've been basically more or less shut. We're literally just about to start turning that corner. So things have been tough. But one thing I will say in life is at any point in time, nothing's easy, right? And if it's too easy, there's something wrong, or there's something waiting for you around the corner. So, when, and another thing my mom used to say is that when the going gets tough, the tough get going, right? So you have to find ways to unwrap challenges, because inside every challenge, there's an opportunity. Sometimes it's so deep that you have to stay at it for a long time. Sometimes it's quite shallow. So you take the first layer of the challenge off and you see the
Yes.
opportunity. But the one thing you must have to change a challenge into an opportunity is staying power. You must have belief and you must have staying power. As I said to you, the only thing I know is property. Because the only thing I know is property, I have to stay with it, right? So over time, things will grow, things will change. But it's been quite an interesting journey. And
Thank you,
just
sir.
yeah.
That will lead me to the next question. When you talk about sometimes you have to stay on that challenge because it can open more opportunities. When do you let go? When do you, from your experience in business, when do you say, okay, I've stayed too long on this thing, it's not working, I need to give up? Or should you rebrand it? Or what do you do when you can see that time, energy, everything has been put, you've done everything, but it seems not to be?
Well, there's no such thing as doing everything. So there are two types of challenges, and
Okay.
it's important to have the wisdom to know the difference. They're the challenges that you can control, yes, by whatever hard work, brain science, intellect, wisdom, advice, or whatever. The challenges you can control, and there are challenges you can't control. So, the rain, for example, the weather is a challenge you can't control. All you can do is plan on how to mitigate that challenge, right? So if it's raining, take an umbrella, right? Or close your windows, or whatever challenge the rain causes you, you can mitigate against it, right? And the challenges you can control. The ones you can control is what you have to focus on. And so I've spent all my life focusing on the challenges that you can control. I've never really liked, and I think my colleagues as well will tell you that I'm very impatient with people who complain about things that are outside our control. You can't complain about a tenant that's doing something that you can't change. You can only change the way that tenant thinks about you,
Think.
right? So it's important to focus your efforts on the challenges you can control, and we were all born naked. Yes, so we were all
Yeah.
born with nothing, right? We all
True.
came to the world with nothing. No matter whether our parents were rich or poor, we came the same way, and we'll go the
True.
same way, right?
True.
And whatever you've achieved in life till date, yes, most people, 90% of that achievement is down to how they've run their lives, right?
True.
So whether it's how you were guided in youth by your parents, or whether how you've guided yourself as an adult, at least 90% is down to you, right? Those who think they're unlucky are unlucky because of the things that they haven't done that they could have done at certain times, right? It could have been school, it could have been bad friends, it could have been bad habits. I mean, it could be anything, but we have to take responsibility for the situation we find ourselves in. Um, so I mean, I would say, yes, I've gone through a lot of challenges, and I'm not frightened of a challenge. And sometimes you go through pain, it reminds you you're human,
True.
and it's important, and it keeps you level on the ground. But God rules in the affairs of men, and
True.
the reality is what will be, but you
Mm.
have to play a part in trying to make what will be to be.
to be. I like that. I like that. Because I'm not so into the principle of what will be. Like you just said, you have to play your part, then make what will be to be. I like that. Thank you, sir, for saying that. I have another question, but before that, let me allow this doctor friend of mine is in Argentina. He's asking this question. He said, from your experience, what's your outlook to employing indigenous experts or skilled labor in your project executions?
Well, the people who know me, so I've run a business in 7 countries in Europe, in America, and in 13 different African countries, and every time I've always started with for a start, I draw a professional line. It's important to always employ a professional, right? Whatever it is you're doing, unless it doesn't require a professional. So I don't do things on a clan basis. I wouldn't say I'm going to take my friend or my cousin or my children or anything. You have to be good at what you do, and you have to be able to do it, right? But my first choice is to give people a break. So I like, first of all, the first thing is young. I like young people because I think young people do need help, and they do need ambition and drive, and just having an opportunity can make a huge difference in their lives. My break came from somebody. So it was an opportunity that I was given, and I grabbed it with both hands. But if I wasn't given that opportunity, I may have had a very different journey to life. Yes, I may have gotten to where I am today, but it may have been a very different route.
Yes.
So, so my first box I tick is young. The second box I tick is people like me. And you can read in it what you like, but in this era, in this sensitive era of Black Lives Matter, I'm not necessarily going to talk about color, but I want people of the sort of experiences I've had. So being African helps, being Nigerian helps, being Black helps, pursuing a dream helps, being brought up through a certain educational discipline and moral code helps. So I will always look at that. So I give those opportunities. And when we're running our business full time in Europe, I had a very strong bias for African businesses or African support. So whether it's my accountant or lawyers or the builders, I always try to use Africans. Many disappointed, and many were excellent. And the excellent ones, I'm glad to say, have gone on to do tremendous things. And the people who disappointed, have ended up in a way that they were always going to end up, because they took a short-term view. They thought they got the job because of a friendship or because of something, and never really took it seriously. And if they did that to you, I mean, you said something at the beginning of the show. I've forgotten. There's an Igbo phrase about it. There's an Igbo phrase that says, and I know people want me to say it in Igbo, but I'm going to say it in English. That if you
well, why don't you want to say it in Igbo? I would love to hear
it. Because you've been speaking English all through the show, I'll say it in English. But it says basically, if you don't know what killed the father, am I still on the show? Someone is frozen. It's either me or you.
Wow. Can you hear me, sir? Okay, we had a little break there. No, it's okay for you to speak it, sir.
Okay, so it says basically.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, although it looks like you're frozen, but I don't know whether it's you or me.
Hello, Mr. Paul.
Wow. Can you hear me?
Hello, Mr. Paul.
Yes.
Okay, the network is playing funny at his own end.
Is it my end? Hello? Oh, wow. If the guys out there can see me, someone send me a message. I'd like to know whether it's me, my end, or not.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. You're back. Yeah.
Network there. Yes, it's fine. Okay. Please go ahead, sir.
All right.
So you can speak it in Igbo. allowed.
I'll stick to English for the time being, but I will see. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay.
So basically, it says if something kills the father and you don't find out what it is, it will kill the son. Yeah.
Okay.
And what that basically
Mm.
means is that if you're treated in a certain way, um, if someone treats someone else in a certain way, they're likely to treat you in the same way. So imagine you're getting married and the counterparty has left their husband or their wife and they've done terrible things. Yes. And you think, well, that was them. This
Yes.
person's not going to treat me like that. You will be treated the same way, by the way. You will, it will eventually come,
True.
right? And so people
True.
generally are like that. They don't necessarily change their DNA. So I think
Yeah.
in life it's important, yes, to figure
Yes.
out some of your principles and live with some of those principles, but don't take on people who have treated other people badly, expecting them to treat you well.
True. 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 True.
Yeah.
We are
And
together. We can hear you, sir.
okay. And I will say it. I will say it in Igbo next time.
Because now they are challenging you. Someone just said that you should accept that you can't. Your Igbo is not. Who someone mentioned that he's one of your friends. I'm trying to get the person. I'm trying to get the person's name. He said,
I,
"Okay, Mr. Oscar." He's saying, "We know, we know your Igbo is not the most fluent. Oh no!" So he has challenged you.
well, you use the word friends. I'll deny him. I'll deny him live and say he's not a friend. If you can say that online, but I will challenge him next time I speak to him to speak Igbo because I spoke to him yesterday, by the way, and he didn't speak Igbo, not one word of it.
I like that. I like that. I like that. So, Mr. Oscar, you are being denied on a live show online program that you're no longer Mr. Paul's friend because you could do this to him online. So he also is doing same back to you. I quite understand. So thank you so much for that, for explaining why you prefer professionals even though you have your criterias to work with. That's fantastic. So share with us as you had a very great feedback record in numbers last year. Now COVID happened this year. In all of your journey, as we are rounding off, we have a few minutes left. In all of your business journey, you are building a dynasty, you are building an empire of businesses. And you have, like you said, I like the fact that Landmark is not just an event place. It has other outlets that it's into, building people, bringing people together and trying to, put life to a meaning for them. So in all of this, are you the one managing all of this together, or you have trusted, colleagues that you put in places of position? And why do you do that? Why not? Because the African thing, we are so scared of partnership. We want everything to ourselves. Why do you have people, managing the other outlets, or are you doing it together? How have you been able to put everything together, if you have?
Well, I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that a very small percentage of what I've achieved is down to me. As I said to you, the people around you matter a lot. Your friends, your family, and colleagues, teachers, everything matters a lot. So over time, because I've worked in so many different countries, and Landmark has been a multi-country organization, I'm used to having partners and having competent managers who have the wisdom and intelligence to do what's best for the organization. And so far, again, I'll say we're lucky in many ways because I have a lot of team members and colleagues that have stood up, especially at a time like this. I mean, even during this time, we created a war team in Landmark, and we had 1,200 people working in our ecosystem that literally had to go home.
Wow.
So we a small number of people created the war team, and they effectively have run Landmark for the last 4 to 5 months, and the job that they've done is nothing short of brilliant. I think it's the number one rule in life is try to get the right people through the door. So many people think it's all about how you sort of keep people, but at the end of the day, if you get the right people in, if you watch your front door, get the right people in, and watch your back door so the right people don't leave, then by and large you'll be a
Don't
successful
leave.
organization. Yes. But it's important to see the difference because we all make mistakes. You will hire the wrong people sometimes, and they may not be bad people, but may not be right for your organization. But talking about partnership, I think partnerships is important. It's a big principle of mine. I think together you're always stronger. I remember the days I used to go to South Africa a lot, and it was at the South African airport. There was a big banner. It said, "If you want to go far, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together." But that whole principle of partnerships is important. But you choose your partners carefully. It's important to choose people who are like you and who think like you, who have your own morals and your own ethics, and who won't let you down. People who take relationships as a currency, and it's very important. So a lot of my friends, especially my close friends and colleagues, my relationships are incredibly important. I will do anything for them, and I like to believe they'll do anything for me.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. You've shared great insights, things that you should be on the next TEDx, or what's that program for the youth and the young minds. And these are insights that I say it with all humility and responsibility that people will pay a whole lot to hear this nugget. They'll pay a whole lot, and we are having it on just a free platform, and I so much appreciate that. Thank you so much, because you just mentioned something very critical, and I like that. You said that keep the front door, watch the front door so that the wrong people don't get in, and the back door, be careful so that the good ones don't leave. I've never heard that before. I'm just hearing that for the first time, and it hits me well. It hits me very well, and I hold it tight and strong. Thank you so much for that. I'm grateful. Thank you. So as we round off, what has been amazing in your because I've seen that your business trend, your business experience and all that has been like process. Don't you get eager to get results? How do you pause? I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. How do you pause? Because we have the young ones these days, they want to make the money fast. You talk about professionalism, you talk about knowledge. You said you can't stick with what you know, which is property. You've stayed with it. Talk about knowledge. You talk about being disciplined, staying true to the goal, looking at the goal. These are principles that we are kind of fading away in our generation because everybody wants it fast, fast, fast. And like you said, you took it time to get to the office with the rigors of traffic and all that. Why don't you just do your best when you get there so that all the time, use will not be wasted? So share with us, in your words, share with us in your experience that this process, does it warrant you? Is it rewarding enough for you to go through all of this?
Yeah, well, I think reward is something that's very personal. Many people do things for love. Many people do things for money. Many people do things for friendship. Many people do things for assets. So you've got to figure out why you're doing something and choose what your reward is. But don't halfway think your reward is something else. So you've got to decide what it is. And in all honesty and reality, is what I do for personal reward. And my personal reward is not how much money I make. And maybe I'm privileged enough to be able to say that money doesn't matter because I can eat 3 square meals a day and I have a roof over my head. So that I get and I understand. But my reward for me is changing the lives of other people. And I don't mean that in a philanthropic and way, but I mean that in a more practical way, is that I like to see people grow. So whether it's my children or my colleagues or my friends, I like to see people do very well. And I like to see the influence I have on people's lives. So whether that's building buildings that they can use, creating destinations that people have fun in, just doing things in a great way. And my colleagues will tell you that one of my favorite sayings is, if you can't do great things, then do small things in a great way. Yeah. And I think that's very important. There's also another Igbo saying that mirrors that. And it basically says, if you're hunting for elephants and you see chicken, make sure you eat the chicken whilst you keep on looking for the elephant. so that.
But you don't need to be sweeter if you say it in Igbo.
Well, maybe Oscar. Maybe
Igbo, it will be sweeter than English. Why Mr. Leonard? Mr. Leonard, Mr. Who was it that was challenging you? Mr. Oscar. Mr. Oscar.
Neither can Oscar, by the way. Oscar ran an airline and never had one Igbo phrase in his airline, so he knows. But I think it's I think it's important. I think it's important. I have quite a few things that are dear to me. And you know, many in Nigeria where there's so many challenges and people ask why.
Yes.
Yes. We train
Mm,
ourselves at Landmark to ask why not. Yeah. The issue has
mm,
to be why not? While other people are saying, oh, why? And they turn around because there's a challenge, we say, why not? And not every challenge that we take on, we succeed in, right? But you always learn something from taking on a challenge, right? A favorite saying of mine is the opportunity of a lifetime can only be realized in the lifetime of that opportunity. So there's no point seeing an opportunity then coming back saying I'm not ready yet. And it happens to many people. I'm not ready to buy that place yet. I'm not ready to do this business yet. I'll do it when my children grow up or when this happens. But when you go back to do that opportunity is not
mm,
the same opportunity, right? It wasn't. So the
mm,
lifespan of that opportunity has moved. So it's important to take risks. Nothing in the world is given without
mm.
taking risks. When we leave our front doors,
True.
go to work, we're taking a risk. And many people have taken a lot of risks during this COVID time. So risk is important, although it should be measured, right? But I think that's important. There's one of the things I have on the back of my wall in the office, and it basically says, if you want something you've never had, you've got to be prepared to do something you've never done. And it was an old American president
True.
that that said it once. So some of these things are the things that have sort of guided me, and I think about them. As I said, I have an Olympic mindset. I always strive to win. I always strive to do well. I push myself to the limits. Pain is not something you should be afraid of. Pain just keeps on reminding you you're human. And when you fail, it reminds you you're human. Yeah, and you make mistakes. Yes,
Mm.
absolutely.
Wow. That's fantastic. Thank you so much. Pain shouldn't be something we should be scared of, neither is it failure. Is a reminder that we are human and we are not God. And that leads to my second to final question, which is where does, I know now you've shared with us the principles, the insights, where does God come into place in all of this? Because these days some people don't even understand who God is anymore. They are so pictures of God. Some people they are doing fraud, people are doing, living carelessly and making life miserable for other people, and it's still God, you know, frauding their friends, the family, and it's still God. So to you, who is God and where is his position in all of this?
So I was brought up in a very Christian Catholic family, and I still remain Catholic. So I'm not even going to pretend that I'm a Pentecostal Christian. I'm a I'm deeply Catholic, and God to me, I said earlier in the show that God rules in the lives of men, right? And I think
Amen.
I
Yes.
think it's important to when people ask, well, what does God do? Why has this been allowed to happen? God has a plan for everything, and we've got to decide what that plan is. But that plan will only come to being if we help it happen. So I have a few principles, and these are principles of the Bible and the principles of the Testament, and some of the oldest ones. And I suppose one of the oldest ones is treat people the way you expect to be treated. Because I've seen
To be
in
treated.
so many instances, especially in Nigeria, in Africa, it happens a lot. We start meetings with a prayer, and then we spend the next 3 hours,
Mm.
yeah, committing
Fighting.
atrocities. Yeah, committing atrocities in the meeting, whether the people in the meeting or out of the meeting, and then you end with a prayer, and then you think that you're being godly, right? Because you prayed at the beginning, you prayed at the end, and it simply doesn't make sense. That's the bottom line. Yes, I think I think it's important to have the principles, right, and the do good principles, because at the gates of heaven, you'll be treated the same way as you've decided how you're going to treat people. So, from a commercial position, I say I would never sell anything I can't buy myself. And from a more
Mm.
friendly position, is I will never treat anyone the way I wouldn't expect to be treated.
Mm.
And those are my sort of fundamental principles. And
Mm.
so that's where
Thank
I see
you.
this.
Thank
Uh,
you.
yeah.
I like that. I like that. I will never buy what I can't use. I never sell what I can't use. So, and that's very critical. And I like the fact that you use that example that we pray at every meeting and we do all sorts during the meeting. So, what are we saying? I like that. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. So, okay, someone is asking before I now finally ask my last question. Okay, Chichi says she's a family friend of yours. She's a very dear family friend. And thank you to all your friends. They've been online and I'm grateful. Thank you guys. Every friend of Mr. Paul, I'm grateful. Thank you everyone for coming online. You are all well appreciated. She said, how do you relax? I was going to ask that too. So I'll
Well,
just change my last question. How do you relax? How do you have your leisure and all that? I know football is there, obviously. Your team, that team. You're not going to call their name. No good PR for them here. That's fair. So we know football is there. What other things get you relaxed?
so I noticed I have a lot of family. People call themselves my family friends. They're actually my cousins. Ogechi, I saw a message go.
Oh, okay.
I'm a family friend. Ogechi is a very close cousin of mine. Chichi is an extremely close cousin. Chichi's father is my mother's brother. So I don't even know how I wasn't them on the call, but Chichi knows how I relax because I can tell a story of her, but I wouldn't embarrass her on this platform. But that was part of my relaxation. And Chichi dancing on the table, if you remember. But I wouldn't tell the story on a live platform. How do I relax? So one of the cornerstones of my business philosophy is live, work, play, business, leisure, lifestyle. So I'm relaxed when I'm working, and I'm doing business when I'm playing. So it's not really a question of I don't sort of take time out and relax and say, let me rest. I'm just comfortable and happy with what I do on a day-to-day basis. Having said that, what I had to do deliberately over the years is take time out with the family just because of the fast-paced life and the travel. So one of the things we did do very early on is where we decided we'll go on holiday 3 times a year. So we do go on holiday at every break of it. Obviously, COVID has happened, so we've missed both the Easter and summer holidays. But we did, and at the time, because my children were all born in the UK, we did our holidays for 5 years in different African countries. So I'm always proud to tell people that my children have been to more African cities than most people who have lived in Africa all their lives. Because we took them around to many different African countries, and we don't do 5-star holidays in my family. We do real holidays. We stay with the people and understand the cities we go to. So I relax doing that. I relax sort of learning new things. I relax. I'm a lifelong student, as I said. I read a lot. I watch a lot.
I even like the fact that you said even doing business you relax. Why doing business? Because it's what you love to do. It's who you are, your passion, and so you're having fun even while making money. I like that. I think everybody would love to do that. You'll be having fun while making money. That's beautiful. Thank you so much.
The sports people do it.
I think Mr. Leonard is really on your case. Mr. Leonard is saying that any Arsenal fan can never relax while watching.
Leonard supports the team that hasn't won anything in 4 years. That's why.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Paul. As we round up, please share final notes to everyone on this show. We always say on the show that the day you realize your dream, the day this is what I want to do, that is your morning. No matter the age, no matter the time or the location, as long as you can wake up and say, okay, I would love to do this and pursue this, then that is your morning. And so you still have your noon and your night, to go through with you. So with you, sir, share with us as we round off in all your experiences. You have a fantastic relationship with your friends and your family friends, and I like that. It confirms all the research I've done about you. So share with us what few words will you have to say to everyone listening right
now? I suppose I said most of them, but I'll sort of recount the ones that are dear to me. And one of them is be a lifelong student. The second is effectively, if you want to progress in life, and it's one of the things on the back of my wall, if you want to progress in life, make sure others around you progress first. Because if everybody's happy, I found out very early on in my 27-year marriage that if my wife is not happy, I'm not happy, right? So it was important, and that's just a microcosm of this whole thing. Basically, if people around you are happy, you're happy. If people around you are not happy, you're not happy. So I try to make my colleagues, my friends, my family happy all the time. So I think that's incredibly important. I've said throughout the show about that whole philosophy of developing an Olympic mindset. I think excellence is a choice. You can either decide you don't want to be excellent, you can decide to be excellent, right? But it really is a choice. So I think having that Olympic mindset, and when people say, well, I was almost there, it doesn't count. You know, if you've ever missed a flight or missed a train or missed a bus, you understand what I'm talking about. Because if you miss it by 1 second, you have the same penalty of the as the person who missed it by 1 day, right?
Yeah.
Right. So if you want to get on that bus, flight, or train, right, then make sure you get on it. And that's why I say, you know, have an Olympic mindset. You have every day is a 100-meter race, and you have to be striving for gold. So I suppose those are the key lessons in my life that I've tried to sort of live with. I've tried to share with friends and colleagues. I don't know how many people on the show have read the book Good to Great. Yeah, but I think, you know, it basically goes. It says, you know, good is the biggest enemy of great, because most people who feel they've already succeeded or they've done it, right, stops them from being excellent. And I think that glass ceiling, we've got to shatter it all through. And I think it's very important. And those of us who lived in other countries outside Nigeria, especially countries that have been ruled by white people, I think it's quite a time now. The changes we're seeing now are real. And I think we owe ourselves that opportunity to ensure that not just Black people, but Black businesses begin to thrive outside Black countries, by patronizing them properly and just making sure we pursue and push them to excellence. The last thing I want to say is, because when these very strange times, this pandemic, you know, I think it's important to be safe. I know there's so many things going around, but you know, this is real. I live with a doctor who's actually a public health professional, so you know, this thing is real. And I think it's here to stay for some time. So be careful and pursue your dreams in a way that without restraint.
True. Thank you so much, Mr. Paul. Thank you. It's been amazing having you on the show. I don't even feel like I'm talking to a CEO. I feel I'm talking to like my elder brother because that's how relaxed I was upbeat earlier today that I'm not sure what kind of questions, you know, group CEO is not just my mind, it's not just what you get on the street, you know. I have to, you know the questions to ask. But as we got talking, I found out that it's just as if you are right beside me talking to my elder brother, and it confirms everything I've so much heard about you. And I'm thankful. I'm grateful, you know, for your sense of humor. I like the sense of humor. It's really amazing. And you have amazing friends. Shout out to every one of them that came online. Mr. Leonard, Chichi, Mr. Oscar, I appreciate Ogechi, every one of you. Thank you so much for this support. It shows that Mr. Paul is an amazing friend to every one of you, and you all by sharing this moment with him. And to all my friends as well that came online, thank you. Mr. Paul, I am grateful. I thank you so much, and I want to use the opportunity to thank Tobechi. Tobechi is my friend's younger brother. He made, you know, I reached out to him that I have you on the list of people I would love to hear their stories, and he told me that Mr. Paul is humble to a fault. I'm sure he's going to say yes. You know, though I still had to go through the right process. Shout out to Yewande, your personal assistant, amazing young lady. And I like you said, now I see why you believe so much in the youth. You know, it's promising to see that, you know, they understand the principles of life and they appreciate relationship. And I and you today we chat like as if Yewande, like we've seen each other. Thank you, Mr. Paul, for honoring my invitation. Thank you for making it easy to reach out to you. And your story is amazing. I'm encouraged, I'm inspired, I'm motivated. And I pray that all this, the seeds that you have sown in school and the business and in Africa as a whole, I like the fact that you are spreading the wings, you know, of your business, of your empire, building it, you know, all over Africa and external world as well. We thank you. We thank you for making us proud in Nigeria. We thank you. We say shout out to Madame, the doctor herself. We say thank you for allowing him. Thank you for making him, you know, reach out to us as well. We say God bless her. Thank you so much, sir. I'm grateful, so grateful. I'm so privileged and I'm honored. And I say God bless you, sir. I will reach out to you after the show. Have a fantastic evening. Thank you. My regards to the family, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting me. It's been a pleasure to be on the show. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Please, everyone, please, a round of applause for Mr. Paul Onwanibe. Please, shout out to him. Thank you, sir. Have a lovely evening, sir.
Have a great evening too. Thank you very much. And thanks everyone for listening. And thanks
Bye.
Tobe and
Bye.
Onwanibe for putting this together.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, sir. Bye, sir.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, everyone, for coming on the show. I'm grateful. I'm honored. It's amazing to have Mr. Paul on the show. If you know him, you will know that he's really a great privilege. He's a man of the people. You can see that all his friends, every one of you, came online, to support and to show love and confirm all the great work he has been doing in business and in building relationship. And he's a proud, he's a proud African man. And let us give him that. Let us support that his team because of Mr. Paul. Okay, congrats to us now because of Mr. Paul. Only because of Mr. Paul, we'll say congrats to you guys on this your victory at last, finally. But anywhere you hear United, please take a bow. Please note that when you hear United, take a bow. I stand with United forever. No one so. I am a true United daughter. Thank you everyone for coming online. Please stay safe. Keep social distance. Be real. Like we always say on the show, the day you wake up to your dreams is your morning. Keep running the dream. Keep fulfilling purpose. And I know God will see you through. And whatever your heart desire, the Lord will make it happen for you. He can do it. If he can do it for Mr. Paul, he can do it for you. There is nothing impossible. And, we always say, Jesus, get connected, stay true, and being who you are. And I know God will make it happen for you. Thank you so much. Join me next week. I have an amazing guest for next week. You would definitely want to stay online to hear him. Go to my YouTube channel. Please go to my YouTube channel. Kindly subscribe if you are yet to, so that you can get alert of when I put up new videos, just like Mr. Paul's video interview. Great insights, great things to learn from him. Like, comment, and share your feedback with me as well, so that I can, learn and become better on this show. Have a fantastic evening, everyone, and regards to your family. Stay safe. God bless you. Bye, everyone.